The last thing we want to do in our 411 training is answer the question, when are we going to make disciples? If we truly want to be here at Redeemer, a gospel-centered, disciple-making family, we have to work this into our schedule. This has to be something that we build into our lives. This isn't something that we're just going to stumble into. We have to set goals. We have to plan ahead, and we have to be considering ourselves realistically, what does it mean for me to make disciples who make other disciples? And so some of the goals that we need to set is, when is the time that you're going to pray every single day for those in your sphere of influence? God is the God of our salvation. He's the God that softens our hearts to receive the good news. He's also the God that puts people into our lives so that we can have the mind and eyes of Christ to be salt and light to those around us that are far from God. And so let's set up some goals of, when are you every single day going to be praying for those in your sphere of influence? I've heard of a couple of different ways that this can be really helpful. Some people put the names on a note card and put it in the dashboard of their car so that they see it every single day when they're driving to school or work. I've also heard of some people putting it in a Ziploc bag and putting it into their shower so that as they're doing all that every single day, they're able to redeem that time to not just be doing the essentials, but also be praying for those that are in the harvest. So when are you going to set a time to pray? Secondly, and this is a really important time, is when are you going to spend time sharing with them? There was a story that we heard recently in our gospel community, is they realized that as they were praying for people in their sphere of influence that are far from God, it changes how they interact with them on a day-to-day basis. It absolutely changes how they think. You're like, oh my goodness, I have been praying for you. And so they've been trying to reflect, when is the proper time for me to share the good news? Maybe use the 3 circles, or maybe use the 15-second testimony whenever you're interacting with a coworker or with someone that you go to school with. This is a very important aspect that we need to be considering, is when are we going to share? And these are things that you can set up with your gospel community. These are things that you need to be reflecting and setting goals within your gospel community on a bi-weekly or on a bi-monthly or weekly basis. What are some goals of sharing that you can ask your gospel community to hold you accountable to? And lastly, we need to remember that disciple making is a team sport. And the primary engine for our disciple-making efforts is going to happen through your grow groups and through your gospel communities. Everything that we're doing here at Redeemer is streamlining our efforts to be a gospel-centered disciple-making family. So you need to set goals realistically with your gospel community. You need to pray with those in your gospel community for your friends that are far from God. And you also need to set realistic accountable goals with your grow group. Not only should you be confessing your sin with your grow group, abiding in the Word with your grow group, and continuing to pursue Jesus, part of pursuing Jesus is making disciples who make disciples. And so this is a very important aspect of who we are as a church here at Redeemer, that we need to be thinking about and reflecting, when are we going to do these things? We're going to do them through our gospel community. We're going to do them through our grow groups. We're going to do them through sharing with those within our sphere of influence. And we're going to do them by praying every single day for those that are far from God. And then we're going to trust in the Lord of the harvest to use us for His great glory, which is going to bring our church here at Redeemer inexpressible joy, because it's a built-in blessing. It's the missing link of all of our pursuit of God. Is God doesn't just save us from our sins, but He saves us for a purpose, and that purpose is to make disciples who in turn we can train to make other disciples. So I'm encouraged, and I hope you are too, to join with us in the mission of God here at Redeemer Church.